We're here. I love the music. I get a lot of feedback. Wow, it is Good Friday. Is it Good Friday for you?
Well, I had a Good Friday. It's not
Yeah,
Good Friday for me, but I had a Good
it's Good
Friday
Friday for us
nevertheless.
fellow Catholics and Christians.
There you
Thank you
go.
for joining us. I want to thank everybody for their participation in the show. Hope they have a wonderful Easter weekend. Thank you, including yourself, Ethan. I know you're
Well,
not of the
thank you.
faith.
No, I appreciate it.
I
And yes,
know
thank
you're
you
not of the
very
faith.
much.
I'm just being
Very much.
like I got one for you. Stop me if you heard this one.
Okay.
All right. Two Jews walk into a bar and they bought it.
Nice. Nice. There we go.
We're gonna start off with my Jewish jokes. And we got
Hey,
somebody
that
on
works.
here.
There,
Hey,
that works. Hey, we got Mike from the UK tuning in. This
hey,
guy.
Mike. Thanks, Mike. Thank you. Hey, we got some stuff to talk about. We're gonna go draft. We're all gonna go draft. Everybody's going draft crazy. We're gonna be there 6 days from now, checking out Journey in the draft. We will be there. And also next Friday, we're going to start early at 7:00. We're going to do a watch party. Ethan, you're welcome to join us. It's going to be myself. It's going to be Sherry. I got some people from the Bougie Sports coming. Heather said she was in. Lana said she was going to try to make it. I invited Yvette, and I think Posh is going to make it too. I love it when my wife sends me reels while I'm in the middle of doing a show right now. Thank you, Christine. I love you. Hey, thanks, Mike. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate the comments. We appreciate all of you. Hey, welcome to the Burning River Browns Talk on the Fanatical Elves Network, a subsidiary of the Fans First Sports Network. I am Lou Marconi at omarconi251 on Instagram, at omarconi1973 on X. My co-host tonight, special guest, Ethan Greenberg.
Shalom.
No, shalom. Hey, Shabbat Shalom. Is that
Yes,
right?
sir. You
Yeah,
got it
there we
right.
go. See, I hang around with Jews a lot. So, Ethan, go ahead and plug what you do. I know you got Going Nuclear.
I've
Correct?
got Going Nuclear, full-blown coverage of the land, and that's with me and my buddy Mike Rosinski.
Yes,
And
Mike.
then
Yep.
the best doggone podcast in the land with Heather.
Heather.
So
Yes,
we've got,
lovely Heather. Mhm.
absolutely. We've got lots of great content and
Awesome.
fun stuff. There's a good show. So Tuesday right now, we are lined up to have Lance Riseland on. Mike and I on Going Nuclear are going to have Lance Riseland.
Cool.
You might know him from Cleveland.com, a contributor there. He's on 92.3 sometimes.
Yep.
He's a great resource. We're going to talk about the draft. We're going to talk about the Browns. And Heather and I, we've got a little something special. We are working on a little surprise for everybody.
I'm gonna check that out. Now, when is that show going to air? Wednesday or?
I can't say.
Oh, it's a surprise.
It's a surprise. It'll be announced soon enough. But
Yeah, but we're probably going to plan on going live the first night of the draft. I'll be here live at 7:00 next Friday. So we got people coming, and we did the watch party through the whole second and third rounds. I can't broadcast it here, but we can talk through it while it's going on a device off to the side here. That's what we can do. Yeah, because we got hit with a serious copyright. we actually had it on both nights, and it's like I think all 3 days we covered the draft like that, and I was like, oh yeah, the NFL came down hard, man.
Okay, so Lou, if you're a Family Guy fan, was it implied verbal consent as opposed to expressed written consent?
We had no consent. We just did it. We're like, oh, they'll never catch us. Oh boy, they did. Oh yeah.
Man, did I tell you, Lou, that one of Heather and I, it may have been on one of our best. No, it was on episode of Going Nuclear. Heather had joined us, and I played the Imperial March from Star Wars, and I saw in my Gmail account there was a notice from YouTube, my YouTube account, that said that particular podcast was blocked in a territory for copyright infringement. I'm like, huh. It was blocked in Russia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
For using the Imperial March. Yes. We used to do music all the time, like did the Killers, and I did Elvis. I've done all kind, and all of a sudden we just started getting hit. I said, all right, I'll go back to the generic stuff. So love the bad wide receiver section.
Yes, we did a whole segment of would you rather a drunken high Josh Gordon versus, and we went through all the wide receivers that were drafted from 1999 to the Cleveland Browns, and pretty much I think we determined that maybe the only wide receiver the Browns drafted since 1999 that we would take over a drunken high Josh Gordon might have been Braylon Edwards. Might have been the only wide receiver. That is how bad it's been. So it's a la an homage to Peter Griffin making fun of the guy who comes into Big Pete's House of Munch. He wanted to use a Discover card and he tells him all the funny things he would rather take than his fly-by-night credit card.
Yeah, it's still a credit card, but good.
No. You are going to listen to everything I would take rather than your fly-by-night credit card. So yeah, that was on that was this week. We had a good time with that. Mike did an awesome job of.
Thanks, Mike.
He put together a list, and because he and I were talking about it.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you for the comment.
Follow Mike. If you don't follow Mike, follow him on X. I hope he'll post his handle on here. But he actually did a whole thing. He dove into the draft and kind of did a whole write-up of it. So he's
what's his handle? Do you know? I got Mike.
It's Mike _ Cavs UK.
Cavs UK.
I believe that. Yeah. At Mike _ Cavs _ UK. And there it is. He is giving it to us. Give him a follow. He's across the pond. But he's
across the pond. Yeah. Like my friend. There he is. Okay.
Jacked up.
We already follow each other.
Oh, good.
We already do. Yeah. We already do. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. I digress.
Well, just so you know, thank you guys for there you go, Mike. You came here. Thank you guys for the comments. Thanks, Mike. We already follow each other. I'm going to plug a little bit of my stuff. I'm going to be doing a WrestleMania review show with Corey Castle on the Stewcast on Tuesday, and every Sunday we do the Sunday Stew Pod. Every Saturday do the Shabbat Stew Pod. We'll be off this Saturday though, and just keep an eye out for my other content too. I also do the Stirring the Pot every other Monday. John and I are going to be doing a draft preview, and he's going to be salivating over a quarterback. They're going to draft a quarterback. I will say that, but yeah, I don't know when. I just don't when or where, but I would guess probably somewhere around 33. Maybe they'll move up a little bit.
Exactly.
Maybe they won't. I saw one mock that had them going all the way up to 20.
And that's possible. It's quite possible they will draft. I think it won't be their first pick. I'm pretty sure it'll be their second pick, whether it's at 33 or they move up. They will be drafting a quarterback at that point. Did you see, just as we can get into this in a little bit, but apparently I saw that Jackson Dart is not going to attend now in Green Bay. I don't know that means anything, but he rescinded his acceptance of the invitation.
Oh, I didn't know he was even invited.
Oh, yes. Jackson Dart was, and he is not.
Well, Jalen Milroe will be there.
Right. And everyone was like, does he expect to go in the first round? And I think that's what it is. But Sanders is going to be at home. I mean, why wouldn't you want to be? I know there's pageantry and everything, but being at home is not a bad deal.
In my opinion, a lot of it's just pomp and circumstance to me.
It is. And you got to buy a stupid suit.
Well, there was an agent that I knew that was talking about Russell. What the hell was that guy's name? The number one pick of the Raiders, the biggest bust.
Oh, Jamarcus
Russell, wasn't it?
Yes.
Jamarcus Russell. And he borrowed like $100,000 to buy jewelry for draft night. And they were like, what are you doing? It's like, what are you,
what he should have done is he should have done that thing they always do in like sitcoms where the woman buys a dress and then keeps the tag on it because she doesn't want, it's a really
so you can take it back. Yeah.
He should have
kept sure nothing happens to it. Just take it back. Yeah.
Or the Raiders, they should have kept the price tag on Jamarcus Russell so they could return him when they figured out it was like a lemon.
Yeah. Just like, this guy's, that's a bust. Jamarcus Russell. That was big time bust. So that was just something I thought was interesting. That just tells you where their minds are. If they're worried about meanwhile, Joe Thomas was out fishing when he got drafted by the Browns and he went on to a Hall of Fame career. So I just think it being there doesn't mean anything. It doesn't. Brady Quinn was there. You remember that? And
he sat around and he was sat around. And was he like the last dude left in the room? And then the Browns went up and got him.
Yeah. Then Johnny Manziel was drafted at that spot. Brandon Whedon was drafted at that spot.
That's the only thing I would say. Whatever you do not, if you trade in back into the first round, you cannot draft the quarterback at pick 22. It's cursed.
Yeah. I think I can see them going up to 20 because Pittsburgh picks at 21 and they are taking a quarterback.
Jerry Dulac. Dulaxative. I'm being very unkind here. No, my understanding, they're reporting, Jerry Dulac is reporting that they may not go with the quarterback, is what the latest I've heard. Yeah, allegedly there's a report out there, and again, this is silly season still.
It could be smoke.
It could be smoke that the meeting with Sanders didn't go well. I don't know. I think that they don't have a second round pick. So what are they going to do?
Wait till the third round draft,
right. They could skip on a quarterback if they don't.
They could trade back into the second round if they wanted to.
They could. They traded away their second round pick to get DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
And I'd say, you know what? All right, let's talk this, Lou. Which was the better trade of a second round pick? The Browns to get Elijah Moore or the Steelers to get DK Metcalf?
We'll see how Metcalf does with the Steelers.
I know, but in theory,
No, in theory, no. Actually, Elijah Moore wasn't doing too. Last year, only receiver that had a good year was Jerry Jeudy.
Right, and Moore did better once Flacco was in. So if he may actually, they've talked about that he might. There's some conversations. Maybe he might come back cheap.
Yeah,
he's still out there.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Okay, before we go any further, because we were going to talk about the stadium.
Yes.
And I got into a little back and forth with somebody that I consider a friend. I mean, believe it or not, I consider him a friend, and I just don't agree with him on this. I don't agree with his thought process, his attitude on it, which is okay. We could disagree, and I'm going to see him on May 31st at the Top Dog Tailgate. But before we do that, let's pause and get a break in now. All right, there we go. Thank you. And speaking of sponsors, also check out Hemisphere Coffee Roasters on the details of the show. Click on the link, order up some coffee. Tell them Lou sent you.
I was looking at their website. They got some flavors. Jamaican me crazy. Sounds
making me crazy. Yes, I get that for my wife. Yes, Jamaican me crazy.
Well, I guess she does that to you. You do that for her. It's the same thing. I don't know.
That's a perfect marriage. It is
toasted Southern pecan. Now, do you say pecan or pecan? Or neither.
I say pecan.
See, I would have said pecan, but I think that there's there's a portion of the country that would say pecan, but either way, tomato. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, hey, I sent this to Sherry, and she laughed at it. What do you call a rabbi with a black belt?
A rabbi.
Jiu-jitsu.
No, they practice Krav Maga. That's fun. I like that.
Jiu-jitsu, yes.
Nice. That is good. That is good. Okay, so stadium talk here.
Stadium talk. Okay, so we're going to talk about this. We're going to go down a rabbit hole here. I don't care how long we're here. This thread started out where a state senator in Ohio made a comparison of the current Huntington Bank Field on the lakefront to Ohio Stadium. And saying Ohio Stadium was built in the 1920s. It's over 100 years old. This is true. And it's still good. And this person, and it was Top Dog Tailgate, and I consider him a friend. And I know his first name. I'm not even going to say his first name here. Said, mic drop, boom, it's perfect. We should stay where we're at. Brown should stay where they're at. And I responded with, and you probably saw what I said. I said, okay, was Ohio Stadium built in a rush in 2.5 years? Was it built on an already 60-year-old foundation, now over 90-year-old foundation? Was it built on taxpayer money? Because I don't think it was. I think it was built on endowments and contributions from boosters. And also, is it falling apart? I mean, is it capable of holding? I mean, it just doesn't. It doesn't. And you were saying even more. Ohio Stadium doesn't have seats; it has bleachers.
Yep, it has bleachers. And if you've been there, it's beautiful. It's a great old structure, kind of like.
Yeah, Saints are taking Sanders. I agree. But go ahead.
Yeah, I'm pretty 99%.
And I agree with this take too. First two picks will probably be Hunter and Milrow. I think so. No. I don't know what that's about, Mike.
I don't know.
But go ahead. Go ahead. Because I kind of did that.
I think that so look at college stadiums. They don't have to upgrade them. They're old as dirt. They don't replace them because they aren't going to be funded by the taxpayers because they are part of the university. They are part of the campus. You can't just replace that. Is Ann Arbor oldish? They made upgrades, but it's old. It's bleachers. It's all bleachers. They added suites on the one side and made it really high. Notre Dame.
That stadium. I know that.
Look at the Rose Bowl. The Rose Bowl is ancient. Oh,
okay.
But all of these,
thank you.
all of these old stadiums, I mean, they're not the best. They're not modern. They're crap. But that's not the point. They're not there to be money makers. And this is an investment on a team, on a city, on a region. And so it's more complicated than it's 102 years old and it's fine. And the person saying, oh, well, so the Browns shouldn't move. That's ridiculous. There are so many problems with that argument.
Right. And I started poking holes in it right away. And him and I were going back and forth. And I was actually going through the details and the numbers.
Right.
And that $600 million that they're talking about, it's a loan.
Yep.
It's a loan. It's not. And also, but the money they're asking, the $300 million they're asking for the county, for Cuyahoga County, and the $300 million that's for Brook Park, they're going to get that money back in tax revenue. Probably make a profit off of that. They're telling them this is an investment in this. So if we're putting up our private money, which is $2.4 billion, plus putting up $50 million in collateral on a $600 million loan, you guys are going to get tax revenue from this. You got to have some skin in the game. That's really what it is. Yeah. And this is a business negotiation. So but then all these idiots, these talking heads, taxpayer money. Where and I wrote the article. You saw the art. I don't know if you read it. I don't know if you read my article. I did it for Fans First.
But go ahead.
That's fine. I said, okay, what's the alternative? If we don't build a new stadium and we stay where we're at, who's paying for that?
Exactly. Because right now the city owns the stadium, so they should be paying for every single bit of every repair that has to be made.
They do. The Browns pay for it and they build the city and the city reimburses them.
Right. I mean, so how does that help anybody? It helps nobody. And the only thing that maybe the city benefits from is, or I don't even know, it's not the city. I don't know who owns all the parking lots and parking garages.
City.
The city owns all. Okay. So
the city. Yeah. The Haslams do not get a dime. See, I saw Daryl Ryder, and I like Daryl too, and I interned with him years ago, posted something. It was opening day for the Guardians, and he said, you gotta like capitalism, charging $70 to park. And I said, I take the Rapid. He said Rapid's $5. Take the Rapid.
Yep.
But okay, you know what the beauty of capitalism is, Daryl? It takes two willing parties to participate.
Yep.
If you sell, say like you're on that corner and you're selling hot dogs at $20 a pop, and there's a guy selling them for $3, same hot dogs, just as good. They're going to buy the $3 ones.
Oh,
you're going to lower your prices. So that's how it works. If there's a market, people are willing to pay that much to park. I charge it. And the concern that Eric had at Top Dog Tailgate, just like everybody else, was saying, surely an Uber is cheaper. Yes, it is. There's people that do Uber down there. I just public transportation's fine. But the prices we don't even know what the prices are yet for that stadium. No. We don't even know what the prices are for 2026.
Exactly.
We don't even know yet. So don't get yourself worked up. And if you can't afford it and you don't want to pay it, I'm not telling you how to spend your money. It's your money, man. Don't pay. Don't go. Don't.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
don't go.
I mean, I'll tell you what, Lou, even it doesn't matter if it's okay. So obviously it's supply and demand as well. So like Correct. Ohio State is
I'll buy a $20 hot dog. John, John, I'll buy you a $20 lap dance, John. All right.
Hey, that
Hey.
might turn into a $20
I'm
hot
gonna
dog.
catch
Oh,
myself
hey,
for saying that.
all right.
Go ahead. I was making a point. I was making an economics point, but go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get him in trouble if his wife hears that. Okay. Okay, bring it down. Bring it down.
So the thing is, it's supply and demand. If I looked at the price to go to an Ohio State game, the only game I can afford to go to is maybe the game against the MAC opponent at the beginning of the season. You can't get a ticket, and it's gonna be expensive, even for a crappy seat. Crap seat. They are expensive. But the point being,
you have to donate too if you're an alumni too to get tickets.
Okay,
I've heard that. I have friends that were alumni there. But go ahead.
Okay, and I know my niece is a student there now, but I guess my point being, if I cannot afford that and don't want to pay that, I'm not going to go.
Right.
That's just what it is. You have to make economic decisions. You can't cry. I could cry that like I should have all of these things and wonderful stuff, and but that's just not the facts. So I have to pick and choose, and it is what it is. And so I'm not going to worry about what might be. What I want to see is what's best as a whole and in the long run for the region, for the team, being able to host really great events. And I'm also thinking of the fact, because I live far away and I can't make it to have season tickets and be there all the time.
Like I do, yeah.
Right. If I want to come to a game and plan to come to a game, I don't necessarily plan for a December game because I'm like, the weather is too uncertain for me.
Thank you, Heather.
Yeah.
She's paying for memories.
Yeah. It's about value. You're exactly right.
I think it's the experience too. It's like the camaraderie, the tailgating, the friendships, everything. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
I'm not, but because of the weather, I'm hesitant to go and sit out in the freezing cold or rain.
I've done it.
I'm sure you have. And I I might do it at some point if I were in the area and I'm like, okay, whatever. And it just depends on the situation. Like if it's a chance to clinch a division, I'm going to be there. I'm a moron.
Yeah, if it's a special game, like if it was Game 7 of the World Series.
Exactly. And so it's as John just commented there, it's a tremendous investment and is the future of Cleveland. It's out there by the airport. It's going to bring in larger events and tax dollars. Now, the one question I have, Lou, is this, because I've seen this and I don't know what your level of research is on it.
Okay.
How much is the infrastructure going to cost for all the roads and changes that have to be made for
that I don't know. I do not know.
How does that play in?
That would be more taxpayer related, I think, because when it's roads, depending on because I know if they're interstates, there'd be federal funding.
Okay, but they wouldn't necessarily be raising taxes. It would just be taking money and putting it toward this or that. And again, I don't think it's going to hurt to build something that's going to bring people to the area and have a destination. What else is out there?
Right. That's why I said, and it's interesting too, because Cincinnati is now squawking for money, and they didn't even present a plan to the state of Ohio. This has been in the works for years, and we've had people lobbying the state legislature for this.
Yep.
So there's more to it, and I think a lot of political posturing is that, because when the first part of it was passed by the House, it was passed with 55 to 15 vote.
Right.
That wasn't even close. Now there was an amendment they tried to put in to not be able to give a team a loan,
right?
And that failed by one vote. And it was like, no, they were like, no, we're not gonna throw this in. There's people doing whatever they can now. Governor DeWine does have the line item veto in Ohio. He could veto it. He could veto it. He could. I don't think he will, though. I don't really know, but I just don't think he will at this point. I did like his idea about doubling this.
Sure.
I liked that. It was clean. It was easy to understand. Most people would have been okay with it. And I think that still might be in the works somehow, but I just don't see it.
I think that what would happen, and tell me if I'm wrong in theory, the companies that are doing business, the gambling, the online gambling, will say they'll get their own lobbyists to say,
No.
yeah, they've probably donated a crap ton, and they'll say, you ain't gonna do that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's just my that's my.
That's very possible. You're very possible because they think it'll kill their business. All right, let me read you the last thing he sent to me.
Okay,
I'm going to read this. And I took a screenshot and I sent it to Ethan and said, we're going to talk about this. And let me see, like, Ethan, it's gone to OT in Atlanta. Help the Cavs. That's Cavs are going to be very well rested.
Yeah,
yes, it's going to OT in Atlanta.
I'm glad that it's gone to. So I don't know.
There's no increase in taxes.
Nope.
Nothing. No increase in taxes. There's going to be taxes on the usage of the facility itself, a sales tax, and just like a sales tax and a tax on the tickets and parking spots and rental cars and stuff like Ubers and stuff like that. So that will happen, and that's what that goes into the city and county coffers, and we pay back them with the revenue. All right, and I meant the betting companies. I guess.
Yeah,
I guess I'm not sure of the deals, but let me read you what Top Dog Tailgate tweeted. It's on Twitter. I didn't delete anything, didn't say anything. I just took a screenshot and sent it so I can read it verbatim. And I basically talked about them having skin in the game and the state of Ohio, everybody, because everybody's going to benefit from this. He says, well, I hope it fails. Lots of people priced out, not buying PSLs and paying ridiculous money for most likely a last place team in typical Browns fashion. All right, I'm not done yet. The Steelers will win a Super Bowl in Jimmy's world.
That would suck. That would hurt. That would be painful.
That would hurt. That would be painful. And I mean, you can think what you want and say what you want, but my only question to anybody that would say this or agree with this or think along those lines, why are you a fan?
Yeah, it really raises good questions about
why are you a fan? And I'm going to see him the 31st, and I'll ask him, man, why? I mean, you want the owner of the team to fail. You want this to fail just because you know. I remember hearing these arguments in 1989 when Gateway was brought up, and we voted for Gateway. We voted for the sin tax by 1%. If we didn't pass that, the Indians would have moved. The baseball commissioner came in and said, "You build them a new ballpark, or we're gone. This is a joke. This is terrible. I mean, people weren't coming to games. The stadium sucked. It stunk. It was terrible, and that's what it was. So this place, it's on a landfill and it's sinking in. And the past 25 years, we've had a handful of winning seasons, like 3 playoff seasons, and I mean, really."
Yeah, it's one of those things where you go, are you just mad because the team isn't good and you're using this as you're lashing out?
Yeah, probably.
Because you're angry that they're not winning. And the question has been all along, like, what is it that
You're right, John. You're right.
Yeah. I mean, what is it that you mean to tell me businesses are like, this is my entire year? This is my entire year. Like, okay, that seems
Rush Stadium is cursed. I've heard that, but go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, shouldn't you have a better business plan than that? Seems to me that's a bad thing to rely on.
10 days a year on a Sunday.
10 days. I mean, yes, they're getting an event this weekend. They're getting the Columbus Crew against Inter Miami. You got
It's nowhere near like a Browns Bengals game or season opener or Browns Steelers game. You know, it's nothing. You're not going to get the same type of crowd.
Actually, I mean, I don't think for the tailgating purposes, but they are expecting a very large crowd.
Oh, they are? Okay. Well, I hope they come. Well, yeah, enjoy it.
You know, Matt, because soccer is huge, and to bring one of the best players in the world in Lionel Messi,
bring them up.
But it's going to be a very big crowd on hand down there, and that's great. But how often does that happen?
Not often. No. Maybe 15 events a year they have there. We're going next week. Next week we're going to be at the Journey and the draft, and people were complaining about not getting gifts as season ticket holders. We're getting a free concert now.
Exactly.
So, I mean, they're and look what the owner's investing in the practice facility, the stadium, the payroll, of the team. They're listening to us. They are. I mean, they're not.
Yeah.
You can disagree with like, okay, how is he spending the money or what's he doing or not? Okay, fine, but you can't say he's not spending money. You
He
can't.
puts his money where his mouth is.
Yeah,
He
and
puts money, unlike George Forbes. Okay, so let's listen to what George Forbes has to say about the money.
I can't hear it.
Hold on one second. We're gonna get this up. Oh darn! Hold on. All right, we'll come back to this. The street.
George Forbes, is that with Carl Monday?
Yes. Yes. Yes, that's the best. That is absolutely.
And just so you know, Top Dog Tailgate, I consider you a friend. I disagree with you on the issue. We're cool. That's not it. I see something like that, and it just sees somebody that's lashing out that's hurt. Hey, I remember that hurt in 95. I remember that.
Oh my God, that was a gut punch. It was an absolute gut.
And the city of Cleveland is just as culpable as Art Modell.
Oh,
I hate to tell people that.
It's true. It's absolutely true.
Okay. Thanks, John. I hope so. Yeah.
That's a bold statement.
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, I'm hearing people in Pittsburgh are talking. They want to tear it down and rebuild. I'm like, are you sure you want to do that? You want to go through a rebuild? You're going to rebuild for 20 years. Are you going to want to do that? They are so arrogant sometimes.
Yeah, they don't know how good they have it.
Don't know what you got until it's gone, folks.
No, it's absolutely.
Yeah, are you freezing on me there?
They have it, so
yeah. Okay, you look like you froze.
I kind of feel bad for them in that sense that they're like, oh, boo-hoo, and what?
Woe is me. You hear that in every NFL city. You do. You really do. I've heard it in a lot of places. The boo-hoo, the woe is me.
You have no idea. You have no idea. So yeah, I think it's I've got friends who are just Debbie Downers about every single thing that the Browns do, no matter what they do, no matter who they draft, no matter whether they win. It's always a complaint. Everything is a complaint. And I'm like, I can't deal with that. And I don't understand. Like, so there's a very easy solution. Stop watching. Stop listening to sports talk. You make the decision to do that. If you don't like it, so what? What? I don't know what else to tell you there, kid. It's just
yeah. Let's also talk about the draft now, because I think that leads to like what we were saying, who's going to do what in the draft. And I know John's watching, and John, I've seen your they got Mason Rudolph. Yes, they do. I see that he's best. He's definitely, he's all in on getting a quarterback at 2.
Right.
That's fine. You're fine with that. Okay. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to be Debbie Downers because if we draft the guy they didn't want, or we should take this guy. Oh, I don't like this guy versus that guy. It's going to happen. It's going to happen no matter what. I wanted to ask you, I mean, I've been hearing this about Abdul Carter, that he hasn't been able to really work out for anybody.
Yes, that is correct.
So that gets me, if I was a betting man, and I'm not, but if I was going to put money on it, Travis Hunter's the pick.
Yeah. Oh, I think that was made abundantly clear by how
Sanders, no matter what, that's his hill, man. That's his hill. Yeah,
that's fine. We can get him later in the first round, but he's not going number 2, and we're going to go over all the reasons why he will not go number 2. And the thing is, Andrew Berry's press conference yesterday. So first, okay, you want to talk about the people that complain about everything? I've got buddies texting me about how much of a waste it is to do this press conference. I said, it's protocol. Every team does it. Stop complaining.
The league makes them do it.
Yeah, stop complaining. It is what it is. If you don't, why are you listening to sports talk?
Carter slides all the way to 33. He's not. I don't know. He's not going down to 33. He's going to be top 15.
No, he's not. But stop complaining. But I think what he said makes it pretty clear. Unless he's a hell of a poker player, and I'm not. And I heard somebody else say that on ESPN. Unless he's a hell of a poker player, He's basically saying, look, we're taking him. There ain't nothing you can do about it because the Titans are taking, Ward, and they're not trading out of that. So what you gonna do, brother? What you gonna do, brother?
Oh, we're gonna go into that now. All right. I think, like I said, that I do think it's going to be Travis Hunter, and I think the second pick will be a quarterback. Do you see how far? Do you see them trading up late in the first round to get their Milroy?
Milrow or
Milrow?
I'm thinking that it's Milrow. I am now convinced that Milrow would be the most likely.
You're probably right, Mike. I think the Saints need a quarterback, and if Sanders falls to them, they'll take him.
I am reading again. I read some stuff that maybe it's not, maybe not. I mean, what if they like Jackson Dart? I mean, what if they think
who the Saints like Jackson Dart?
What if? I'm just asking. What if?
Hey, we didn't expect Bo Nix to go to Denver last year when he did.
Right. Nothing.
And he turned out pretty good his rookie year.
I think that they will go Sanders, but if they don't, so let's just play the scenario out.
Devil's advocate.
Right. Browns go Hunter. So we go Ward at 1, Hunter at 2. The Giants seem pretty set. They're not taking a quarterback. So let's say it gets to 9. The Saints don't take Sanders. Now you're talking about a free fall, and the next team that's coming up that needs a quarterback is the Steelers at 21. And as we talk, there's discussion that
we talked about that, John.
That maybe the Steelers might not go quarterback. But I would see if it would get interesting for sure. If it gets to be the point where now the only quarterback off the board is Cam Ward at 1, I think the Browns are like, okay, do we want to trade up? Do we like Sanders so much that we think he's going to be gone, so we have to trade up? Or are they comfortable letting maybe the Steelers take Sanders or whatever and holding for Milrow? I don't know. And it's also possible, what if Sanders slides all the way to 33?
It's probably not going to happen.
I doubt it, but and we're talking at that point, let's just say the craziest thing ever happened. And we've got a choice of Sanders, Milrow, and Dart all at 33. Then what? No, I don't know. I
don't know.
Look,
I don't think it's going to happen, but
I don't think so either. I'm, of course,
I think we're going to have a choice at 33 between Dart and Milrow.
I think that although because of the way quarterbacks are, this is where, as the GM, you have to read the draft board and know if somebody is potentially going to jump you. Because if I recall correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, Lou, that the year that let's see, that Mahomes went, so that would have been what?
He was 2017. He was like,
okay, so Trubisky goes 2. All right, here we go. For all of you you got to get a quarterback. Hey, Mitchell Trubisky just called. How you like me at the number 2 pick there? Yeah, great. After we go and get Myles Garrett. You got Mahomes at 10. Now, if I recall correctly, the Chiefs jumped us to get up to 10 and take Mahomes. And then we traded out of 12, giving the to the Texans, who drafted Watson. And then that ultimately turned into Denzel Ward because of the injury to Deshaun and their crap record that season. So I think it's one of those things, Lou, where you've got to be able to read the board, make sure no one's going to jump you. We sit in a prime spot with that 33rd pick. That is for anybody who doesn't know, will be the first pick of the second round, which is on
first pick of night 2.
Right. So we'll see. I mean, you don't want someone to snake you, I guess is the point. You don't want to lose.
Yeah, that could happen. I mean, it's going to be intriguing to see how I think from pick 20 on will be interesting to see what happens. Will we trade back up? Because we could trade up one spot to get our guy and have trade up one spot with the Eagles and take Milroe, Dart,
whatever. Yeah.
whoever, and then get 5 years. This is what I'm hearing too. I'm hearing this analysis about Jalen Milroe is that athletically he has such a high ceiling that it's his mechanics.
Right. No,
and they need to correct this, and you can coach that. You can fix that. But go ahead.
In theory, you can. And look at Josh Allen. If you want to look at an example of a guy who everybody was talking about his accuracy and his mechanics, and he was a wreck in terms of mechanics his first season. It wasn't until about season 2, and why can't I think of the name of the coordinator who kind of got him on track? I should know this. Greg Roman. I think Greg Roman was the coordinator in year 2 and kind of got him on track. And
I think you're right. I believe so.
Do you think they're going to have to coach? And Reese has the connection to him.
That's what I was thinking too. It's Jalen, and he something else too with Andrew Berry's press conference. He said something about
he's the only person who's faster than Lamar Jackson. I hope Lamar didn't hear that or something.
He said something about when Jalen Hurts was drafted, he didn't look like a franchise QB, and he was a second-round pick. He's a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Yeah, and he looks fantastic. He does. Again, you could say that maybe he's not elite in this or that, or somebody is better than him. I shouldn't say not elite, but you could say, okay, he's not the best quarterback at X or Y, but
I wouldn't put him at the top in the league. No.
Right.
No.
But he ranks so well that it's enough. It's enough. I'm not saying that we can win with some schlub. We're not. Look at all the crappy quarterbacks we've had in town who we got in the middle rounds. You want to talk about Cody Kessler?
Yeah.
How about Colt McCoy?
Ken Dorsey.
Spurgeon Wynn.
Yep.
Let's see. Who else did we have? All the retreads we got. How about
Jake Delhomme?
Oh my, yeah, Jake Delhomme and Jeff Garcia. And so, if you remember, I was just discussing this with Mike. Actually, we were DMing, and the year that we had Jeff Garcia lined up to start under Butch Davis, that would have been going in. That was the 2004 draft. Manning goes 1, Rivers goes 4, and of course they swap places, the Giants and the Chargers. Roethlisberger goes 11.
Yep, we picked Kellen Winslow 7th.
Bingo, because it was a Butch Davis guy, and think of where the franchise would have been.
Oh yeah, well they personally worked out Roethlisberger and the Browns receivers like he broke Andre Davis's finger throwing the football, and they were telling him, "You got to draft this guy." And he didn't. He didn't want to draft the MAC quarterback. He did not want to draft the quarterback from the MAC. That's what it was. And the Steelers took him, and the rest is history. Well, and that was 20 years ago, guys. So, yeah, the rest is history. So, it's interesting. Let's see. Okay, game 1 for the Cavs. I guess is it the Heat?
Yes, the Heat just won in overtime. So Sunday at 7:00 on TNT, I believe the Cavs will take on the Miami Heat. So the Heat culture in town. So hopefully we don't get the South Beach flu.
It gets the same second night of WrestleMania.
It is. So I'm probably going to be watching the Cavs. Then Wednesday night, so Wednesday afternoon, the Guardians are at home against New York. I think
I don't know.
New York Monday.
Playing the Yankees?
Yeah, they've got them Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then, and right now the Guardians up 10-7 in the bottom of the 9th, 2 down against Pukesburg. But the Guardians will be playing the Yankees and then the Red Sox. Their schedule is as follows. New York, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So on Wednesday, it's a 1:10 start for the Guardians in Cleveland. They will not play on Thursday, thankfully. All the hubbub going on down at the stadium on Thursday. But Wednesday night, the Cavs will play 7:30 on NBA TV. I bitched about that the other night.
And the Cavs are going to be on the road Saturday afternoon at 1 on the 26th.
That is correct.
In Miami. Yep.
In Miami. So hopefully they don't get the South Beach flu. If I were the Cavs, I would not travel until the day before. Kenny needs to put a lockdown on that hotel. He needs to put the duct tape on the doors. He needs to have someone walking around. Maybe Mr. Cavalier Austin Carr can walk around.
Yep, we'll take care of it. Yeah, just get the get Sheldon Cooper out there with his Lysol and spray it down.
Yes, yes.
A Big Bang Theory reference. All right, cool. Okay, let's take it a little bit farther with the draft analysis since we got about another 20 minutes.
Sure, absolutely.
What running backs do you like? Because I think the third round's a running back.
Yeah, I think so as well. I mean,
I just want because we'll take it a little bit different turn here because I really do like Caleb Johnson from Iowa.
All right, so I think we talked about this a little bit last week, and I'm trying
TreVeyon Henderson, Ohio State would be another great pick.
John Judkins, TreVeyon Henderson, I would love either of them. Judkins is about 20 pounds heavier than TreVeyon, and TreVeyon has had some injury history. That was, that kind of held him back a little bit at Ohio State, but he's phenomenal. I'd take either.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're talking about Omarion Hampton is probably going to be gone. And Genty's going to be gone, although I'm not too concerned about that. Go. Adios. See ya. And last night with John and Steve, with the Fanatical Elves, we were talking about this as well. And I'm trying to get back to the running backs on the Beast, just to kind of have the names in front of me, because obviously there's the top of the top, and then you're like, okay, but if you're not talking the top of the top, how good is the next crew? So Brugler's got Ashton Genty 1, his rankings, Omarion Hampton 2, Caleb Johnson 3, TreVeyon Henderson 4, Quinshon Judkins 5, Dylan Sampson out of Tennessee.
I heard of him. Yep.
And he had a very good year, especially when he had to support Nico Iamaleava, who sucks and now has bargained himself out of a couple $1 million or whatever it is, and he can go suck it at UCLA.
Bye-bye.
Yep, exactly. Trevor Etienne out of Georgia. He's only 198, but he runs a 4.42 40.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not bad.
Everybody loves the kid from Arizona State.
Yeah, Scattaboo.
Yep.
Cam Scattaboo. Peyton Hill is 2.0.
That's what Mike did that popped up, and he said this too. Yep.
It is. This is a good class, so you could probably wait on it a little bit. I had forgotten even about from Texas. This guy's really good. Now he's rated as a fifth round grade. Jaden Blue from Texas. He's a beast. He's a beast. I liked him. Thought he was pretty solid there, especially in the college football playoffs. So there are a wealth of options there. I think everyone's talking, Lou, and I probably am not coming up with anything original that you're probably talking about. So let's say you do go Hunter, there's your wide receiver. Then you're probably going with your second pick. You're looking at a quarterback. Then you need to talk about, they're going to go a lot of offense. Tight end and running back are needs. And I please do not miss Harold Fannin. Please do not let him go to one of our rivals and kick our ass for 10 seasons.
I hope not. I would love if they drafted Fannin. Do you think he'd be there the 94th pick?
It's possible because the 94th is so that'll be the round 4.
3.
Oh, 3. Okay, no. Well, like a late third?
Late third, because we have 2 third-round picks.
We have 67 and 94, right? Okay.
Well, because they're going to go 6. They could wait. They could take a good running back at 94. They could.
Right. If that's it depends on what's deeper. And so this was also interesting, Lou. People were making a lot of whatever about Andrew Berry's press conference, but he clearly said we're working on scenarios. So they're like, okay, this is scenario A. This goes here, this happens, whatever it is, and we'll do this. And so I know that everyone says they think they're smarter than anybody else. I get it, but they are pretty smart. I know it hasn't worked. I mean, obviously, they screwed up drafting Jed Wills instead of Tristan Wirfs.
Yeah.
I mean, that was.
I've heard stories about that too. I heard that was a Callahan pick.
that Callahan
Wanted him.
He wanted Wills.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I don't know if it's true or not.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what and maybe he saw something, but like, how are you going to give up on the corn-fed white boy from Iowa? Or whatever.
The analytics said Tristan Wirfs. I think they're going to go a lot of offense in the beginning of this draft for the reason, if you pay attention, offense was the problem last year.
Oh, 100%.
Defense was not that bad. Defense didn't play as well as they did the year before, but they were put in very bad positions for the most part. And we had some injuries pile up too, but
they had no faith in the offense to score at all. They had no faith whatsoever in.
I watched it firsthand. I was there. I was like, this is horrible.
Oh, it was awful. We were at the game in Washington. It was brutal, and it was the funniest thing because you love people who are Johnny Tough guys and like to talk smack. So there was a Browns fan as well, another Browns fan in front of us, and he's talking smack to the goofballs behind me, and he's like, Jaden Daniels has never seen a defense like this. And as Jaden Daniels proceeded to destroy us, the guy is yelling at him, and unfortunately, I was caught in the middle, and it was right in my ear, and I'm like, trying to remain calm. So it was me. It was myself, my son Jacob, and Mike, my co-host Mike, and two of his two oldest kids, who are 11 and 9, I believe. But anyway, I'm like, oh boy! Finally, those people at halftime, the Browns fans, they disappeared. They did not come back in the second half. Which was
I would have too. I mean, I don't run my mouth when I go to games because it comes back and bites you.
I think that's, for me, it's also a bit of, I don't want to curse Cleveland. I don't speak.
Don't tempt fate. Yeah, don't tempt fate.
I wait until the game is over before I start saying anything. I'm like, nah, I don't trust that everything's cool.
Did you know that Harold Fanon's only 20 years old?
And that fits right.
Go ahead. I just brought that up. I don't mean to interrupt your thoughts, but go ahead.
Right into the wheelhouse of Andrew Berry. Andrew Berry likes younger guys. Now, it was kind of funny. He kind of squashed Tony Grossi's question. He's like, you don't draft anybody 25 or older, but there's a lot of talk about Tyler Shuck. He's like, well, there's not many guys in the draft who are older than 25. So it's kind of, how am I supposed to draft a bunch of guys over 25 if there's only like 2 in every draft? And I'm like, that was hilarious.
If we get
Tyler Shuck, I am telling you, the first word out of my mouth is going to be
shucks.
An F. And it rhymes with Shuck.
Right. Yeah. I doubt it. I highly doubt that's going to happen.
Hell no. No one had ever heard of this guy. Give me a break. I got Brandon Weeden nightmares.
Let me just I'm going to tell my story. Like, I did this. There were Steelers. I was the game when DTR actually started against the Steelers.
They won 13-10.
I was at that game. Steeler fans were running their mouths the whole game. And after it was over and we won, he kind of looked at me and I looked at him and I just shook his hand. I said, have a good night. That's all I did. And you know what? He hung his head. That could have been the worst thing I did to him. So, hey, have a good night. Okay. That's it. That's all I did. I handled it with class.
Right. Not engaging with people like that is the best thing you can do.
That felt really good, though. I will say that felt amazing.
So let me ask you this, Lou, because this is to the people who say, we've got a colleague as part of Fanatical Elves who is very much a Kevin Stefanski hater. Okay.
All right.
And I'm
no surprise.
This, you may, and they don't appreciate Kevin Stefanski. Think he's a bad coach.
All right.
He coached the team to wins with PJ Walker and Dorian Thompson-Robinson. They weren't pretty, but we got the wins because of the game plan and execution. And PJ Walker tried to give it away. Dorian Thompson-Robinson was awful, like pretty ugly in that game, but they got one drive to set up that field goal. So how does he not get credit for things like that? Only the negative, only the bad.
People focus a lot on the bad. They do. Unfortunately, that's the world. That's the kind of world we live in. The people we live around. I've heard people tell me I'm the most positive person they met, and I'm like, well, yeah, that's just how I am. It's my nature. Um, the other thing too, the last thing I want to talk about, and I brought this up was I've been hearing a lot of talk because I wrote an article about the unique championship history of Cleveland.
Right.
And there's a lot of people that did not know this because I'm trying to take a different turn, sometimes take different takes when I do this. And I thought people would find it interesting because they didn't know this, but we're the only city in history, in NFL history, to have 3 NFL World Championships from 3 different franchises. In 1924, the Cleveland Bulldogs, 1945, the Cleveland Rams, and 1950, the Cleveland Browns.
That's crazy. I
Yeah.
didn't know that. I mean, I should know these things. All I
But
remember,
but to the people living today, there's a dark cloud over the city. We're cursed. We're this. We're that. And I'm like, are we really? I mean,
well, okay.
well,
Let me,
yeah. Well, no. I'm just saying it's not like it's never happened.
right.
And we have 10 football championships. We have 9 hockey championships, and we have 1 basketball championship and 2 baseball.
Yeah.
Baseball, 2 World Series. Yeah, should have been more, but I mean, we can argue that.
And I think the what is it? Relevance or not recency bias. Recency bias.
Yes, and that's too because they're not Super Bowl. That's stupid. I said they still count. Well, they don't count. I said the league officially voted. Actually, with how the Cleveland Bulldogs got their championship was the league owners had to vote on it. Because back then they didn't have a championship game. They awarded it to the top winning percentage that year.
Have you seen Lou? Have you been to the Hall of Fame recently?
It's been a long time. It's been a long time.
I took my, I may have gone there once as a kid for a friend's birthday party. I mean, I lived down the street from it. And I took my kids a couple years ago. We went to the Hall of Fame and there's this like giant grid of all the teams and their records and by year. It's crazy. But you think Canton is the birthplace of football.
Pro football, yeah, the NFL. Canton Bulldogs.
I mean, that's absolutely crazy. They do need, I know Posh would be all jazzed for this. They need a UFL team in Canton.
That would be nice. Yeah, Mike's saying that too. Love this visit to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, the Hall of Fame is fantastic, and so people definitely need to get there. We don't appreciate. I think that when you live in Canton or you live nearby, you don't appreciate these things. Probably the same way people local don't necessarily appreciate the Rock Hall. And there's
I've been a long time. Last time I was at the Rock Hall was maybe 2 years ago.
Okay,
I was there for a work function, and I think the Canton Hall of Fame. God, I know I took my nephews there. Okay. I have 2 girls, so it's not going to be something they're going to want to go to. They don't really care about football or sport. I mean, my one daughter played basketball, but she's doing more cheerleading stuff. So I'm just kind of,
and that's all right. It's not going to be everybody's bag. I mean, I'm sure
it's been a while since I've gone, but I do want to visit eventually. I do. Because I remember just going through the Hall of Fame and everything. It's a pretty neat experience. But yeah, as soon as you walk in, they still have that tall statue of Jim Thorpe, right?
I don't remember.
I think so. My dad took me there when I was a kid once, and he was telling me that's Jim Thorpe. He played professional baseball, professional football, Olympic gold medalist, one of the best athletes of the first 50 years of the 20th century, probably the best athlete. Yeah,
it's amazing. But the whole experience is fantastic. If you do appreciate the game of football, it gives you an even better appreciation for it. And they've made a lot of stuff, and they do a lot of things there to kind of be fan friendly. Like you could stand in an area like they've got big shoulder pads. I know I've got pictures of my kids where they're standing, and it's like these giant shoulder pads. It looks like you're wearing them, or maybe I don't know, but you like duck in.
I should make the trip down there when Clay Matthews gets in. What do you think?
He better be in. This is ridiculous. This is asinine.
It's asinine. He's not in. Like, and maybe Marty Schottenheimer too.
Marty. Can you believe the coaches that the Browns had at that time, like in the 80s, that we had Marty and Bill Cowher on the same staff? We had in the 90s, we had Belichick
and Nick Saban.
Unreal. That is unreal.
I will tell you, there was a cartoon and the Plain Dealer when Nick Saban was hired by Bill Belichick, and they were really young in the early 90s, and had them like on tricycle, and they looked like little kids that said, "We're going to the Super Bowl."
Right.
And these two guys went on to have like Hall of Fame coaching careers.
And I don't know that, so it's kind of a fun thing, a fun exercise to discuss what could have been, what would have been, what should have been if the Browns hadn't moved. I don't know. That whole year, that last year got screwed up because it got announced, hey, we're moving.
We were tied for first place when they announced the move in the middle of the year.
We started off like, what, 3-1?
Something like we were 4-4 and we were tied for first. I remember we were like hovering around 500. We only won one game after that. Well, how could you? I mean, look, that is like, it's just like, and Modell, the reason why Modell did that, if you paid attention, we were voting on the Syntax extension to pay for the remodeling of the stadium the very next day of that announcement. He was thinking that would sabotage the vote. And if that vote didn't pass, we wouldn't have the Browns now. Because we came up, we brought him to court, we had the vote, we had the lease, and he was stuck for 3 years.
Right.
He was stuck, and that's why they said we'll let you out if you do this. So the NFL, when they negotiated this deal, and the NFL was like, okay, you're going to get a team, now shut up. So they had to rush to put a team together, rush to put up a stadium, and we've been feeling the effects of it for decades because essentially it was the SMU death penalty, but to the NFL. That's essentially what it was.
Yeah, and I was talking to Mike about this, that part of the problem was that, and I recall this, and they've talked about it, the success of Jacksonville and Carolina, they changed the rules on the expansion draft and hosed us.
And the Texans.
Yeah, that them as well.
The Texans was the last expansion team. That was 22 years. I think, are they going to expand again? I'm not sure. I was hearing that.
I know they've talked about it because they keep talking. First of all, they talk about some Europe BS. I don't know. That ain't. I don't see the logistics of that.
Yeah, Mike, that draft did suck.
Yeah, no, Mike went through it, but I'm telling you, it's a
they did suck. I agree.
Very thorough. I mean, and okay, again, what could have been, what should have been, what might have been. Tim Couch, if Ty Detmer doesn't get injured immediately, am I recalling he got injured in like a preseason game?
No, he started. Detmer started, and we sucked so bad, they just went, we might as well play Couch. They just
I swear that Detmer got injured because we got beat 55-0 by the Steelers on opening night. On
42-0. It was 42.
Why am I thinking
41 or 42-0?
Okay, all I know is Drew Carey came out and got the crowd fired up on a Sunday night, and we got our butts kicked. Let's see. I'm going to try and look this up while we're talking about it. Let's see what happened here.
I think Detmer actually talked about it. They deviated from the plan. Is what happened. They just completely left. They abandoned the plan. Couch wasn't expected to play for a while. Yeah, that's the other thing too. If we draft Milroy, Jalen Milroy, and he takes number 4.
Hey, he could fix the curse on the number, right?
Yeah. Well,
and Phil Dawson was the best Brown. Might have been the best.
Phil Dawson, yeah, have him kick field goals. All right, here. This is what we could do. There's going to be pressure to play this kid probably before he's ready. They've been pretty good as an organization, this group, of kind of not caving to pressure right away.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can I stop you? Because I'm getting my facts correct here. All right, you're right. They did deviate from it. They sat him, and it was the following season, he suffered a torn Achilles in the second week of the preseason.
Okay.
Years mixed up there, but I was wrong on that. Mike, if you're still listening, I do apologize on that. I got that wrong.
It's okay.
That was stupidity. And now back to you,
that was 25 years ago. It's no big deal, man. But yeah, we had Ty Detmer because he was going to just keep the seat warm, like the Couch learned. He was going to be the bridge guy. And they deviated from it, and Couch got the shit kicked out of him that year.
Yeah, he did. That we had a terrible offensive line, and it's no good. But yes, Mike's right. We have 2 veterans. I think, and that's the other thing. The move to bring Flacco back.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
It gives you a little bit. He's not great, but he's good enough to keep you afloat. Look at what Stefanski did with other mediocre quarterbacks. Case Keenum,
Yep.
Nick Mullins, and
Woohoo.
worse, Jacoby Brissett played good ball for him. I mean, and quite frankly, he had Baker Mayfield playing very well that first season when he stayed within himself.
Do you think Kenny Pickett is better than DTR?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think Kenny Pickett will play better than Watson did last year?
I don't see how you can play much worse.
Right. The only person that was worse than Watson was DTR.
Yeah. Oh, DTR. What a waste. I mean, but he was a rounder. What did you expect? Anyone who's like, get out of here. We all can see it. We're not stupid. We weren't born yesterday.
But plus the Dorsey scheme just didn't work. The blocking scheme,
it was
the offensive,
terrible.
It just didn't work. It wasn't working. We're just kind of like, what are we doing? So I think they knew like by the second or third week of the season, but they had to push through it. They had to win some games. And also when you heard the owner take accountability for the Watson deal, that to me, I thought was a good thing because he said it was me. And it was him. It was him. He wrote the checkbook for it. He says a big swing and a big miss. And everybody makes a big deal out of him saying that. Well, what else would you call it?
Well, right.
What else would you call it?
I get so. Would you say that to the people's problem with it is this? Oh, it's too late. Way to say it now. Why wait now? What does that really mean? And then they still want to blame Kevin.
Yeah, he was that bad, Mike.
Yeah.
Go ahead. What were you saying?
They want to continue to harp on Stefanski and Andrew Berry and Andrew Berry's bad draft. But again, he hasn't had first round picks. He's had 2 first round picks. One,
I went through his draft picks. They're not
good.
They're not great either. They're not horrible either. They're not great. They're not horrible.
He hasn't. I mean, he hit. Okay, so Newsome has been serviceable. Was he first round worthy? Has he been a first rounder?
Grant Delpit was a good pick.
And he went through injury and he's been okay. JOK has been a surprise. But the problem is, again, he hasn't had first round picks.
Yeah,
he's had 2. He's missed on Jed Wills. Whatever happened there happened. We whiffed on Jed Wills. Greg Newsome is fine, and then we haven't had a first round pick the past 3 drafts because of Deshaun Watson.
And Jed Wills was playing last year like he didn't want to be there.
Oh, yeah, something was. I think he checked out.
DeJuan Jones was starting at left tackle, was actually doing a pretty good job, and I'm like,
until he got injured. That's the biggest thing with DeJuan Jones is his availability.
Injury. Yeah,
he's got to be available. And Jack Conklin's old, and I don't know.
This kid they got Takens from the Bears that played guard for them. He's actually a left tackle. He came here because he could have went somewhere else and made more money as a guard, but I think he came here to feed because he's going to have a shot at playing left tackle and making more money after this year. And if he does well enough, they'll sign him.
I just that's a possibility. It definitely is. I mean,
so
look,
they're not going to be reaching on a left tackle in the rookie this draft. I don't think they will be.
No, I don't think so either. They do need to start bringing in some young blood. Although we don't know how it's going to turn out. Zach Zinter got thrown into the fire, and he got torched. But it was It just was.
I think that there's a lot of scheme stuff with that. There's a lot of things, and
it was a complete disaster out there. And I could come up with all kinds of adjectives, but I think disaster pretty much sums it up.
Dumpster fire.
Yeah, no, it was a dumpster fire. It was a complete poop show.
Yeah. Poop show. You can say shit show. It's okay.
I could. But,
I've said a lot worse. You can ask John. I've gone off.
Oh, I know, and that's fair. And
no one signed Jed Wills. Is that who he's saying?
Yep, he's still sitting out there.
He's not going in. I think he's basically quiet. He quiet quitted is what he did. But yeah, I'm just going to sit there. This isn't like a mock draft, but my prediction, I think by the end of the night, Thursday night, after Journey, everything's all said and done, we're taking Travis Hunter and we're taking a quarterback late in the first round. I think we're going to trade up a couple spots and get our guy. And just based on everything I'm reading, they love Jalen Milroe because of his athletic ability, and they think they can coach the mechanics out of him, and they're going to have a plan and have time for him to develop.
And they need to stick with that. No matter unless he comes out in training camp and just blows everybody away.
If he does that, but he's going to probably look great in the preseason. Everybody's going to go. Everybody
Well,
looks great in preseason. Yeah.
And no, I agree. But he's got to show it. If he did, I think it would be troubling. If you have to be able to evaluate that, and that's also part of the problem, Lou. No more of this country club training camp BS.
Oh yeah,
You know, they were so unprepared on so many levels last season.
Yep.
It was ridiculous. So I think the fact that they're not going to the Greenbrier for whatever reasons, great. In fact,
no Greenbrier.
No Greenbrier. They are having 2 joint practices. I believe 1 week with the Panthers and maybe 1 week with the Eagles again. If I'm remembering correctly, I could be. Don't quote me. Don't quote me.
I'm not quoting anything.
Okay, well, I just making sure. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the draft board here.
Yeah, we did go 4-0 in the
preseason.
You
know what? Yes, I will say this. I was at so because I only get up to Ohio every so often, I would take the kids up in the summer. We saw the first preseason game of Myles Garrett against the Saints and Deshaun Kaiser. Deshaun Kaiser was the quarterback. It was against the Saints. Saw that win that season, the 4-0. The next year, we saw the first preseason game or the preseason game against the Eagles at home with Baker Mayfield. And the next year we went when Freddie Kitchens was the coach, and they came out and they told them we're going to run the 2-minute drill, and went right down the field and scored a touchdown.
Yes, I remember that.
So we went to some of those nice preseasons. But looking at the first round, okay. If you look at it, if it goes Ward, then Hunter. So what are the Giants going to do? Are they going Abdul Carter?
Probably.
Okay. Patriots.
I think Carter could end up with the Patriots.
Okay. I mean, Mason Graham.
Yeah.
The Jaguars. Everyone's talking about Ashton Genty for the Jaguars, I think. But where does that leave the Raiders? I mean, apparently they're out of the quarterback business.
They would take that cornerback from Michigan.
Okay. Okay, that sounds right. That sounds like a good possibility there. The Jets have Justin Fields, for better or for worse. I don't think they're going for a quarterback. The Panthers aren't going for a quarterback. Then you got 9, the Saints. Derek Carr's, whether he's got an injury or not, he's done. They need a future quarterback. They're not relying on.
You think the Bears are taking Genty? Okay.
If he's on the board, if he's still on the board there.
Yeah, if he's still there, yeah.
If he's still there. San Fran doesn't need a quarterback. Dallas doesn't need a quarterback. Miami doesn't need a quarterback. The Colts just signed Daniel Jones. The Falcons have Michael Penix. The Cardinals have Kyler Murray. Joe Burrow at 17 for the Bengals. Seahawks just signed a big contract for Sam Darnold. At 19, the Buccaneers have Baker Mayfield. 20, the Broncos have Bo Nix. Then you get to the Steelers. That's it. I mean, you look at the drop there. Every team from the 10th pick through the 20th pick, those teams don't need a quarterback.
Right.
So
if Sanders goes past the Saints for some reason,
I could see the Browns trading up. They would probably
20.
try. I would say 20. I don't know who they have the best relationship with. Like which, how.
Well, I saw it. We'd give up our 67th and 33rd to go up to 20.
I don't like that move. If that's the move, I'm out. I'm not doing that. If you want that, forget it. He's not that much better. Like if the idea is to jump up just to get Sanders, he's not that much better than Milroe or Dart, to be quite honest. And I'm not doing it. That's too rich for my blood. I'm out.
Denver's at 20, Mike.
Yeah,
Denver's at 20.
They don't need a quarterback. So, but if he also
who's after the Steelers? Sorry, go ahead.
Chargers are at 22.
They don't need a quarterback.
Nope. The Packers at 23. Don't need a quarterback.
Jordan Love, 24.
Vikings, McCarthy.
And I heard they love Will Howard. They'll take him in the 2nd or 3rd round.
Which one? Which team?
Vikings. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I heard they love Will Howard. That's what I heard.
Yeah, I mean, take a flyer on him later. I'd be happy if the Browns took a flyer on him late in the draft, mid-round, late. I
don't think he's getting past the 2nd round because of his size.
Really?
I think somebody's going to take him in the 2nd round. But go ahead.
I think that might be
that's just me. That's me.
Draft, but I don't know. The Texans are 25. They've got CJ Stroud.
That's so Stroud, yeah.
The Rams now are a bit interesting because they're at 26 and Stafford is getting old.
Yep. They could use a young guy to learn behind them for a year.
They could. The Ravens are at 27. They don't need a quarterback. The Lions at 28 don't need a quarterback. The Commanders at 29 don't need a quarterback. The Bills at 30 don't need a quarterback. Chiefs at 31 and Eagles 32. Nobody needs a quarterback. So
the Rams and Steelers,
are
after
the Saints.
The Saints. So you got Saints, Rams, and Steelers. So, do you think they're comfortable? Do you think they're comfortable letting Shedeur Sanders go to Pittsburgh?
And that's okay. So that's a great question that people have been debating. I think that. So the thing is, do they see him as that much better than Milroe or Dart or whoever they have next on their board? If they don't think that he's that much better, then they're going to be like, fine, go. We're not giving up other assets.
I watched Shedeur Sanders struggle against Nebraska.
Yeah.
I did. I'm sorry. I watched it, and I'm like,
I like Sanders because he played behind a crap offensive line.
Everybody said that.
And other than Travis Hunter, who else did he have?
He didn't have anybody. I understand that. I completely understand.
That would be my argument for him.
That's your argument for him. My argument, I'm just saying, I've seen him against lower end college talent, and he's going up against the best of the best in the NFL. Makes me weary. And also the whole primetime, extra distraction stuff. Man, we just went through the Deshaun Watson shit. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want that crap here.
I would put that as a secondary issue.
He sucked against BYU and Kansas as well. Good point.
My question is, how is he as a football player? That's all I want to know. And
I just kind of pointed out what I saw. I'm not an expert scout. I'm not an expert. I'm just a fan watching a game saying, he's struggling.
Now, I will tell you, I know there's some that think he's got all the tools and would fit beautifully into Stefanski's offense because he's more of a pocket passer as opposed to Milroe, who will he can create with his legs. He's got so much speed. I could see them, if they need to move up to get him, like let's say Sanders does go, and they're like, all right, we don't want to let somebody else get Milroe at this point because now we're starting to get a little far. Let's see if we can move up and not spend an exorbitant amount.
Maybe like talk to Detroit or.
Yeah, they've got a good relationship with Dorsey.
Yeah.
I mean, we traded him Zadarius Smith middle of the season last year.
Yeah. We could say, hey, what do you want? We want to move up. We'll give you our 33rd prick, and because I know it wouldn't cost us anything to move up.
They would give them their 33rd prick. We've given them a lot of pricks.
33rd prick.
Yes, exactly. No,
33rd pick. Jesus, that's late. All right, 33rd pick, and then probably a fourth. I don't know.
Yeah, you do something a little bit later down the road. Further down in the draft board.
And for them to move 7 spots, 33rd and a 4th. And we have so many picks already in this draft. We could do a lot of moving and shuffling. I think we're going to come away with 8 picks. We're not going to have 10 or 11. And I think I just don't. I honestly, I've seen a lot of theories and mock drafts, and when people get worked up and they get trenched into a guy, it's the mock drafts to me it's just mental masturbation. It's just, to me, it's like you're getting worked up for no reason, and you have no control over it. We don't really have any control over this, but I could see, but you going through every pick and like, well, who could take a quarterback in the first round? Saints, Steelers, and I could see the Rams doing because of how old Matt Stafford is. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, I mean, but what is McVay looking for? I don't know. I might have to jump in front of the Rams. That would concern me, but maybe he's more of a Jackson Butt Dart guy. I don't know.
Jackson Butt Dart. Who you never know. You never know. Well, I remember like the big shock was when Bo Nix was taken when he was taken last year. Yeah. And Michael Penix. That was a shock because they spent all that money on Kirk Cousins. and then they bring in Penix, and that's what happened too. Let's just bring this up. I know we've been on pretty long here, but the whole Flacco thing happened because we were trying. I bet you I heard we were trying to get Kirk Cousins, and they were over asking. They were wanting him to pick up his salary. They were
we were
like, no.
only going to get him if they would cut him, and we paid the league minimum, the veteran minimum, like the a la what Denver
Russell
Wilson, and then Pittsburgh paid him the vet minimum, and Denver was still on the hook. We already have $40 million or whatever invested this season in Deshaun Watson. We couldn't take that on. So to get Pickett for a fifth and then adding Flacco at a reasonable price when we know he can operate the offense, he's going to throw interceptions.
Yeah, he's going to turn the ball over.
And what? We know he can anticipate coverages. He can throw a receiver open. It's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it's good enough to win games, and it gives faith to the players around him on both sides of the ball that, hey, if we give up a touchdown, we're not hosed.
No. Oh, keep in mind this too. It could be a game early in the season where it's Cleveland versus Pittsburgh, and the starting quarterbacks are Joe Flacco and Aaron Rodgers.
Oh my! Would that not be hilarious?
The geriatric bowl.
It would be. What are the Steelers doing? I've heard. I don't know if it's Grossi that said it or whatever. Or maybe I read it somewhere else that maybe it's one of those things where they've got a wink, wink, nod, type of deal, wink and nudge deal with Rodgers already. That they're going to sign him, but they don't want to sign him before the draft, because if they do sign him before the draft, then everybody knows they're not going quarterback. So it takes away somebody saying, I'm going to trade up so that I can get ahead of them, right? Because if we know they've got Aaron Rodgers, we're not going to worry about them picking a quarterback.
Right.
Fair? Yeah. And I don't like Tyler Shuck, as we said, Mike. I will say the word that rhymes with Shuck and starts with F and would get me an FCC fine.
Yep. No, we don't have to worry about the FCC here.
I know that, but I'm just saying.
We've already sworn enough.
Oh yeah.
Don't worry about copyright violations from YouTube.
What? Did you watch the New Heights podcast, Lou?
The what podcast?
New Heights podcast with Travis and Jason Kelsey?
No.
Okay. Well, they had on Donovan. They had on Spider.
Donovan Mitchell. Okay, awesome.
Man, the F-bombs that were being dropped by all of them. I was kind of shocked. I was like, Donovan, you're wearing you got the nice spectacles, and then like, what's with the F-bombs? It is what it is. I was just surprised. I was shocked.
I would be too. Yeah.
And it was a little crazy. Although now, Lou, I shared the story on at other points in time, but I almost lost a job because of Dwayne Rudd.
Oh, that's the helmet throw.
I'm working on a Sunday, of course. I'm working when the game was being played, the opener against the Chiefs. I'm listening to the game on the radio. I'm working at Finish Line, and this all goes down. And I'm sitting there, and the customers, and it's like a couple of young teenagers. I'm like, oh, that effing guy, blah, 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 blah. They went and told their parents, and we got a call about it. I had to apologize to these people. I almost lost my job because of Dwayne Rudd.
I wasn't working when that was on, but I would trust me. I've had my fair share of things to say.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I try to temper these things, especially now. I sit with my son and we watch the games, and I'm pretty chill. I think I get more upset watching the Cavs, to be quite honest. Every basket, I'm like, you stupid, and I'm yelling about it. I think my expectations for the Browns have gotten so low that.
Well, yeah, that was early Butch Davis when that happened, wasn't it? With Dwayne Rudd.
Yes, because they made. I think that was the season they made the playoffs. In fact, I'm almost positive that is the year that they made the playoffs. They went 9-7. But yeah, stupid. Dwayne, I mean, what kind of a timeline was it to throw that penalty? The game was over. How can you possibly throw the flag there?
Yep.
Ridiculous.
Yep. Oh, they just referees like to do that. And I even wrote an article about the Jacksonville game, the Bottlegate game, because I said if that would have been done in any other stadium, you would have had a riot. They went back 2 plays and overturned a call.
Right, because they're like, and I read the story about the explanation of, well, the buzzer, it was a malfunction. We couldn't hear the buzzer because it was the pass to, was it to Quincy Morgan?
Yeah.
And
well, the other play was run though. So
right,
what?
Right.
The other play's run.
Exactly.
That's it. And everybody in that stadium knew it, so they knew we were being screwed, and we were. And you could tell the Browns bench was like, "We just ran a play. We ran a play. You can't do this."
Right. And Terry McCulley, I believe, was the ref saying, "Well, there's something that says if there was a buzz and there was
even the announcers were like, well, they can't go back and do this. They can't do this. What are they doing?"
I heard the clips. I think it was Gus Johnson on TV.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, as soon as the bottle started saying,
"Oh,
my
yeah,"
God, they were like, "No, don't do this. Don't do this. This is terrible. This is terrible." It was terrible, and the league
had to bring them back on the field to finish the game.
Yeah, after all that.
Yeah, that was.
And I remember when the refs got off the field, and they just got pelted with bottles, and people were like, "Oh, it just happened. Like we just started throwing bottles for no reason." And then no, it cost us the game, it cost us the season, and it cost us the playoff spot. And you do that anywhere else, you will see that. You will see that reaction. And it's just, yeah. And you would see a riot happen. You would.
I think so. I would hope. Okay. So we kind of going back to the stadium issue.
Mm-hmm.
I know that winning makes a difference because when the Browns are winning, that stadium can get pretty loud. I mean, 2 seasons ago, it was amazing the home field advantage, how loud they were and how well they played at home. I want to see get it back to a point where like people getting stuck at the dog in the end of the field with a dog pound. Yes, I do rant in his inbox about the Cavs. You're right. But
yes,
they need to, I want it to be a home field advantage where people are like, we can't hear ourselves think.
I was at the Baltimore game last year, and that was the most rocking that stadium was when I was there. And even I was there for the Steelers game too. It was rocking for that one, but it was there was a mixture of Browns and Steelers fans there. But that one, that was so loud. It was so much fun.
There was so much emotion to that game too.
Because it was Jim Donovan just passed. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was a crazy game. And because that was after Watson got hurt, right? And then Winston was the quarterback, and Winston's throwing it, and they're scoring, and it's amazing. And everyone's happy. They felt free. They was like, let my people go. And they're like, oh my God, thank you, Lord.
When we beat the Ravens, even better was because people were saying, well, they're arguing back and forth about cheering a player gets hurt. And you just don't do that. You just don't do it. And you want to know who did it? I was at the game. It was Bengals fans. It wasn't Browns fans. It was a smattering of Bengals fans that did that. Yeah, I was there. And there was a reel that was completely misleading here, and you deserve it.
Oh, see, I didn't even
that never happened. Because some people at the Ravens game were talking about that. Yeah, there was a "you deserve it" chant. And I said, no, we were here. That didn't happen.
I mean, they weren't. I think that it's in poor taste, but Cleveland has a history of booing quarterbacks who they're upset with getting injured. I mean, Derek Anderson cried about it. That was Tim Couch. I thought both of them did. Well, I knew Tim Couch. I thought Derek Anderson got hurt and booed, and he was pretty ticked off as well. I think both. I don't know if it was him. I don't remember. I remember the Tim Couch one, and he just had a concussion, and he wasn't in the right frame of mind. And even Tim Couch said I shouldn't even have said anything because I wasn't even thinking straight when he reacted emotionally because he felt hurt. He felt hurt by it because you cheer a guy when he's hurt. You don't do that. And it happened to Terry Bradshaw in Pittsburgh. It did. It's one of those things like you don't ever anybody that put on a helmet and played, you respect the game. Exactly. You can be upset and boo the performance. Of course. But they're fair game. They're professionals. Yeah. But if fans cheer an injury. Yeah. Because when Derek And
Cincinnati pelted Ben Roethlisberger in a playoff game with garbage being carted off the field.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So don't give me this shit that they have the moral high ground. But go ahead.
What about this is not Cleveland? You're
fuck you,
Cincinnati.
Yeah. Somebody, Grossi brought that up. Wow, man, we're almost at an hour and a half.
Yeah.
What a long show. We're doing a marathon. Well, I'm getting ready for next Friday when we do the whole second and third round show.
Yeah, I think it's going to be exciting. I am looking forward to this. We're going to do some live reactions there, Lou.
We're going to.
The before, I want to do the before, the during, the after.
But we'll see what people are going to say. We're going to see what people are going to say. But I think it's Travis Hunter, and I'll get John on there. John, you okay? John, you all right?
Right. I think so. I do think so. And look, I know Journey's going to put us all in a great mood. We're going to be very happy. It'll be fantastic as long the weather's looking okay at this juncture. No, not like a great chance of rain. I think 20% chance of rain. But if we can get just no rain, I'll be happy. No rain, I'll be happy.
It's supposed to be dry. From what I've heard so far, it's supposed to be dry. And the high Thursday is supposed to be in the high 60s. So meaning it's like shorts and sweatshirt weather, which I can handle. And I think we're going to meet. We meeting at the barbecue place or the pizza place?
We got to decide. We had talked Mabels.
And hopefully after the draft, shortly after the draft, we can re-sign Nick Chubb too and have him on the team.
I think that would be great. And I mean, you've got both sides talking. From what I'm hearing, I don't know if that was Steve Gill, one of our associates here on the Fanatical Elves Network, talking about them being in communication, or if it was Grossi or somebody like that. But it sounds like there's communication,
which is good.
And look, I suggested this last night with John and Steve. Can we trade Jerome Ford for maybe a 4th round pick? I don't
know if anybody would take him. I don't know.
Can we trade him for a used Yugo with no wheels, and it's up on cinder blocks?
Yeah,
I think if we could trade Jerome Ford for a Yugo, that would be a pretty good swap. How about could we do a Guardians trade where we get a bag of magic beans in exchange for one of our prospects? I don't know. I think that we definitely need a number one bell cow.
And I think we can get one early in the third.
I think so too. And if you bring back Chubb, he's not washed up. I know he didn't have like his top gear last year, and then he breaks his foot, but he's gonna bust his ass for you. And I think you can get at least another season out of him, and you can get some production out of him. I mean, he's better than Kareem Hunt. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you compare the two and look at what Hunt did under similar circumstances where he kind of came in and was just a third down back or whatever, but he ran hard and he did all right. I have even more confidence in Chubb to do that and more.
Yep.
So we'll see. It's going to be great. I am looking forward to this. It's fantastic.
I think it's going to be a fun night. I think it's going to be a great night for Browns fans. I think it's going to be a great night for the city of Cleveland and the Cleveland Browns organization. And I think we're going to have a blast. And I look forward to seeing you Thursday. And I look forward to seeing everybody else next Friday night at a special time for a draft coverage of the second and third round of the draft. Anything you want to plug before we go?
All right. So again, folks, in preparation for the draft, at this point, Tuesday night, 7:00, going nuclear. CLE, we are scheduled to have on Lance Reisland of Cleveland.com. He's been on with Heather and I on the Best Doggone Podcast in the Land.
Mm-hmm.
He's a former football coach. He does draft pieces and scouting. So be sure to tune in for that. And then stay tuned. Keep an eye on all your social media for information about the next the Best Doggone Podcast in the Land show. And we got a little surprise in store for everybody there. And I am looking forward to being up in Cleveland and seeing you and Sherry and John and whoever else we see and covering this draft from wall to wall. It ought to be an experience.
I'm looking forward to it as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody next Friday. Thank you. We will be on next Friday night, 7:00. I'll have Sherry with us. and it's be a special time. We're covering the second and third round of the draft. And guys, thank each and every one of you. Thank you, Mike, for the comments. Thank you guys for participating. And we appreciate your opinion. And you know what, Eric, I don't mind the exchange, and you're fine. You can believe what you want, think what you want. That's okay. You're entitled to it. But I think for everybody, your attitude sets your altitude. And if you're thinking negative like that, and you're always thinking just that way, it's not productive. And I don't understand it. So that's where we're going to disagree, which is fine. Hey, guys, see you all next week. And always remember, when the river burns, hold on, we got another comment here.
Oh, what is it? I thank you, Lou. Mike, thankful to Lou.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So
you're welcome. You're welcome as always, guys. Thank you. And always remember, when the river burns, it burns brown and orange. Have a great night. Got this funk music playing. It's funky like a monkey, if you will. My Dusty Rose.